I wanted to ask you, what is Sharia law to you? Because from what I see and understand, it's if you thieve, you lose your right hand. They'll amputate your hand if you're a thief. If there's adultery or homosexuality, it's death by stoning or whatever. If you're an apostate, or if you leave the religion, there's it's death to the person that does that. Is that Sharia law, or is that across the board within Islam? That's one thing I'm a little confused about.
Yeah, the thing with Sharia is, unfortunately, the way we hear about it is through generally the tabloid and sensationalist media.
Yep.
So, of course, they only portray one aspect of it or one portion of it. And not only do they portray that one, but they portray it in a way that is far from how it's practiced. So Sharia basically is a legal system, and it's not dissimilar to the common law. There's a lot, and in my view, it's about 97% of Sharia is completely compatible with Australian law. Okay. So things like the rule of law itself, due process, the adversarial system, plaintiff and defendant, or a claimant and defendant, all these things are straight from Sharia. Even the substantive law, like in contracts and torts, and all these huge areas, maritime law, all these are exactly the same.
Okay.
So where there's I suppose a difference is that Islam has, or Sharia has, corporal punishment. So it's physical punishment depending on what someone's done. But it's not like we imagine it to be. It's not barbaric, and it's not it's not extrajudicious, which means that there's a court held, and there has to be witnesses, and it has to be determined the person to a particular standard is guilty of a particular thing, and then the punishment has to be dished out by a judge, just like it happens in Australia if you're caught drink driving, or driving without a license, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So there really isn't that much difference. And the other thing about Sharia, for non-Muslims like yourself in particular, is Sharia only applies to Muslims.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with non-Muslims. Non-Muslims aren't. How can a person be forced to prescribe to a religious law that they don't follow that religion? They don't subscribe to that religious thought.
Yes.
So that's why there's nothing to worry about when it comes to Sharia for a non-Muslim.
Okay. What about in countries like Banda Aceh up in northern Indonesia and places like Saudi Arabia? You hear a lot about the beheadings there for, just from my perspective, which seems sort of like trivial crimes. I mean, like I've got some gay friends and they're gay and that's their business. And I think homosexuality, you get lashes, or adultery, there's the beheadings there. Is that a little extreme?
Again, it comes mainly down to politics. So people, the rulers, the people who are entitled, they want to show their constituency that they're doing something good. They want to show their constituency that you can trust me, you can follow me, you can believe in me. And so because the people there are Muslims, like I saw that one in Aceh, and I read the facts to it. These two homosexuals were in their house doing whatever they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And someone broke into their house and caught them in the act, so to speak. And Islamically, that's impermissible. What happens in people's houses is their business.
Even if they are gay?
Oh yeah, whatever happens in people's houses is their business. That's not an issue. And even in Australia, if someone's doing something that's illegal, so to speak, if there's no evidence or witnesses to substantiate that crime, it's like the tree falling in the woods with nobody around.
No one's around to hear it.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it a crime, right? So crimes have to be persecuted and prosecuted with evidence.
Okay.
And breaking into someone's house, whether they're drinking alcohol, which Muslims don't do, or two people that aren't married having a sexual relationship, that's their business. But when it becomes public, that's when the Sharia gets involved.
Now, I want to talk to you about surfing. So you're known as the Surfing Sheikh. How did you get the name? Who gave you that?
Someone in the media, they love it. It's sensationalism. How can a guy that's dressed like me, looks like me, is a Middle Eastern Muslim, like surfing? So, but surfing for me, it's like, and everyone says it's quintessentially Aussie and all that. Yeah, whatever it is. But for me, being close to the ocean's the biggest living thing in the world. There's more ocean than there is land. And I think we lose our perspective as pteropods.
Being on the land.
Right. We lose our perspective, but being in the ocean brings back perspective.